What a journey.
Hey YouTube, welcome back to Russ's Rad Reviews. I've got Cupcake here and we're going over Journey's 8th studio album, Frontiers. And we're going to go over some AP US history here first, because that's how we do it on this channel, and then we're going to get to the fun stuff. What we've got right here, John's going to model for you, is Journey's 8th studio album, released on February 1st, 1983 on the Columbian Records label. It was produced by Mike Stone and Kevin Elson, is that right? Elson. The singles off the album, Sit in Your Seats folks, we're going around the world. The first is Separate Ways, parentheses Worlds Apart, and Frontiers, released on January 5th, 1983. The second one was Faithfully and Frontiers, released on April 16th, 1983. Faithfully, Edge of the Blade, released in April of 1983 in Europe. Number 4, After the Fall and Rubicon, released in the UK of July of 1983. Send Her My Love and Chain Reaction is number 6, released in, I'm assuming, the US and worldwide in September of 1983. And 7th and final is Ask the Lonely and Troubled Child, released in Japan in 1983. This album placed number 2 on the Billboard Top 200, and the artwork was done by Jim Welch. One more interesting historic fact to go over with you, and then we're going to talk about artwork, is there were 4 singles that came off this album that became top songs. Send Her My Love, Faithfully, Separate Ways, and Chain Reaction. And I've also got one more really exciting bonus pack for you. It's on this handy dandy smart device I brought from Frontiers. This is right from Wikipedia, so we're going to put some quotes. The album had been sequenced and prepped for pressing when in a last-minute conference with Journey's A&R man Michael Dilbeck, 2 songs were pulled from the original lineup, Ask the Lonely and Only the Young. These 2 tracks were replaced with Back Talk and Troubled Child. Ask the Lonely was utilizing the soundtrack for the film Two of a Kind. Only the Young would find its way into the top 10 years later as part of the soundtrack of the movie Vision Quest. Not that you guys care, but that's something interesting to talk to you about. We've also got something else we want to talk to you about before we talk about this album. You're getting a 2-for-1, boys, kind of like a 3-way. So real quickly, what we've got right here, this was something that I picked up this weekend. It's an anti-static record brush. It was $15. And I think that's a little bit excessive for an overpriced paintbrush, but this cleans the records really well, cleans the lint off, but if you can find one for cheaper, do it. With that said, let's talk about Frontiers.
This cover is cool.
I really think this cover's sweet. It's one of those where, like, I'm sure back in the day it was all like shiny and stuff, but from age it's kind of just gone downhill a little bit. But it's just so intriguing. Like, it looks like you got Darth Vader's breather mask there, and then you've got this child's head inside of a giant dome. I like it. I think the artwork, the cover at least, is like really attractive and really intriguing. I also love how they like did the probes into the head with the Journey logo. Thought that was really cool. The color combination's amazing, but I mean it's just a cover. I don't know what the backside is. Just your track listings with the guys free floating, which is, I guess is kind of cool. Looks like they're falling out of a void, but
I mean, yeah, they're coming out of the headpiece right here.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Which this is neat because it kind of looks like a car, if that makes any sense. Like this looks like
the front of a car.
Or something.
Yeah. It honestly looks like something like you see from Star Trek or something like that, or
like
Buck Rogers or something. It's really cool.
Yeah, it looks like old kind of space stuff.
So the inside, this is the original sleeve here, and it's actually kind of, it's the same like spiral of the void. Is it a void?
What would we call it? A void? Yeah.
We'll call it the void.
Black hole, whatever.
For the sake of this video, we'll just call it the void. But it's the same thing, but it's in pink. You got the pictures of the band, the same logo up top but smaller, and then the backside has all of the lyric sheet. But I think that's the top of the head. I think
that's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't think the pink would really go well with the album, but I think it actually kind of makes it pop, especially when like you get the 2 pictures of the band. That's kind of cool. In terms of artwork, where do you think you understand it?
I'll give it like I think a 7 is probably fair.
Yeah,
I'd say a 7's good.
I was thinking a 7.5, just because like I think that this is so unique. unique. That's one of those albums where like
It's instantly recognizable.
well, right, like you could put it on a wall and it would look cool. It would be like one of those things you could put in a man cave almost. And the thing is, it's one of those covers too, where you look at it and you notice something different each time. Like if you look in the eyes, if you notice the eyes, I just noticed that those are also the void.
Oh, that's neat. Yep.
Here's what the folks have all been waiting for. The thick boy. The label. We forgot to talk about how cool the label was. It doesn't really change. Didn't really change my score because it's just the back cover. If you can see it, you can probably edit that in, right? Yeah. It's just them free falling. This isn't a very thick boy. It's like 1.5 C's. But yeah. But other than that, I guess we're gonna talk about songs.
So on side 1 we have Separate Ways, Worlds Apart, Send Her My Love, Chain Reaction, After the Fall, and Faithfully. Separate Ways is a classic. I mean, that's on the radio all the time. It's kind of like one of the only Journey songs I know also.
I think it's like the most iconic off this album. That one and later Faithfully,
Yeah.
I think those two share the title for the iconic songs off this album.
I don't really like Faithfully that much. Send Her My Love, Chain Reaction, those were okay.
I actually thought side 1 on this album was really solid. Compared to side 2, I thought this side 1 was really where they shine. Separate Ways, like we already talked about, is an amazing song. I personally think Faithfully is the best song on the album, but it's also a song that means a whole lot to me. Separate Ways is really good, like I said. Send Her My Love, it's a good song. It's not up to compete with some of the other albums that we've reviewed, but it's a good song. Chain Reaction, it's a good song, but the lyric chain reaction, chain reaction, that kind of gets repetitive. After the Fall was a good song. Again, it was just kind of one of those where it fit the record, but it wasn't an outstanding song. And then you get to side 2, and then it starts off with Edge of the Blade, which we both really liked.
That was good.
And then it just kind of just like craps all over the wall. So track 2 on side 2 is Troubled Child, and we didn't really like that song. It felt blocky almost to me, like
Maybe.
I know that sounds like this, like the dumbest way to describe something, but it felt blocky. Track 3 is Back Talk, and did you like that song? 'Cause
I can't remember it.
that was the one that we listened to on the ride here. That was the one you skipped. So track 4 was Frontiers, and for the title song, it wasn't very good. And then they ended with Rubicon, which I thought was awesome. John, I don't know what you're thinking.
It just has, you said it's on thirds or something with every beat, something like that?
They play on off beats. It almost like they jump the guitar. So
Yeah.
when the guitar comes in, you expect it to be like a beat later or a half beat later, but it comes in, he thinks, early. I think later in the song it picked up to be an actual really good song.
No, it almost sounds like they have the song going and then they cut and paste in the next part of the song. It doesn't sound
Uniform.
It doesn't sound smooth, I guess. Like you were saying, that other song sounded blocky.
You think
That's
this
what
one
I think of
sounds
this song.
blocky? Yeah.
It's going, boom, and then it just starts again. It sounds weird to me, but other than that, it's not a terrible song. It sounds a little strange to me.
Yeah, it's it's become a meme on this channel, but the geometry is more like it's all over the place, So that's it for tracks. I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10 for a song.
I think, I'll agree with that. It's not terrible.
I personally think it would be an album that if we listened to a little bit more, we could, it would bump up to maybe like a 7.5, 8, maybe. There's two things going against it. One, it's not really the music that we're accustomed to listening to, and two, it almost feels like it's that more rockish pop. You know what I mean? Like the reason track 1, the Worlds Apart, is it Worlds Apart up there?
Yeah,
Separate Ways is so good is because it's rock. It
It's
starts
rock,
with that
but
heavy,
with poppy elements, kind of.
right, and then it seems most of the other songs are pop with rocky elements.
Right.
I mean, there's songs on it that I'll listen to, but this is one of those where you kind of like, if you want to get a workout, you'll listen to it, you got to get up and skip a song, unfortunately. But with that said, you want to talk about how it's held up today?
They play Separate Ways all the time on the radio.
And
all
faithfully,
all
too.
the time. It's not a terrible album, but for me, I'd probably give it a 5. Because I don't really listen to Journey. And it doesn't have a lot of amazing songs on it for me personally. So I think a 5 is fair for me. I think that's how I'll go.
I'm right in the ballpark with him too. Everything he said is right on. A lot of these songs they're classified songs in here, and I think if I listen to the album more and more and more, I'd grow to like it. Similar to that Cheap Trick in Color album, I have been listening to that, and it's not as bad as we made it look out to be, but it is a crazy good one. I think I'd give this a 6 out of 10 for how it's held up today. Unless you're a die-hard Journey fan, I'd stay away from it. It's not one of those albums where like you probably want to go and buy it reprinted. It's just, for me, the only reason I picked this up is because we wanted to do some Journey stuff, and the price was right. But for me, the only way I'd buy one of these is secondhand. But with that said, guys, thanks for tuning in.
We see you later. Bye bye.
You want to go to McDonald's?